So me, Bishop Auckland FC manager on Carlton for a 2-1 defeat to Carlton in the last game of the season. What are your thoughts on the game, Leon?
As a game, obviously the result isn't the result that we wanted, Joe. The challenge before the game was two teams that couldn't really do anything. It usually boards for a dead rubber and there's nothing in the game. That hasn't been today. I think the first half, we've been sloppy. Both the goals are quite similar. We've stood off too much. We haven't been aggressive enough in and around our own box. But ultimately, we've had 5 or 6 chances in the first half. And when I say 5 or 6 chances, I'm talking about proper chances, Joe. We could have been out of sight. I think it's a sucker punch right on half time, conceding the second. But like I said to the boys at half time, the challenge was go and win the second half and give yourself an opportunity to get something out of the game. I think the second half has been one of the most one-sided beatings you'll probably see. However, like we've seen on so many occasions this year, Joe, we haven't put the ball in the net. We've argued about 10 gilt-edged chances in the second half there. We've moved the ball around well. We've closed the back door. We've lost the game, Joe. But I've said to the boys, they should never accept defeat. But that sort of defeat today, there's a bit of pride about it. Like I say, we haven't down tools, we haven't felt sorry for ourselves, we've had a proper go against a good side. And cliche, Rio's just said it in there, if it was a boxing match, it'd have been stopped. But ultimately, we've lost 2-1, so it's another defeat, but it was a pretty good performance.
Obviously, you mentioned performances like that. I know there was a few calls for penalties and that turned down. Much frustrating when you're seeing things like that happen in the game. When you give a penalty later on in the game or in the first half with a couple of the clear chances, you kind of game changers, and it's maybe one of the 10 shots we've had goes in from a bit more confidence.
I think talking about the penalties, Joe, you know better than me. You were down that end of the ground. It's always difficult on the sideline to make a real clear judgment on it, but player reaction usually gives you the answer that you're looking for. And we've had 2 shouts in the first half, and you mentioned it to me at half time. The players have mentioned it in there. I don't think it was up for debate, their penalties. I'm not going to slag officials off. We know what they are. But them are the things that could have went for us today. Like I say, we've squandered so many chances. We shouldn't have needed the penalties, but sometimes you need them. Decisions to go for you, to give you a platform to kick on. And yeah, it's frustrating, but we've had plenty of opportunities to put the ball in the net today.
Obviously, it's now final game of the season. Obviously, how you kind of review that last, probably, well, since you've took over in a few short sentences, I know we'll probably go in detail.
Yeah. It's a good question, John. I wasn't prepped for that question. It's been a slog. There's been a lot of to and fro, and there's players that have gone, players that have come in. There's been a lot of change. Performances-wise, highs and lows. We've had some really high highs and some really low lows. We've finished mid-table. It's easy to say we've lost against teams down at the bottom. What we've learned this year is there's no givens. It's given us a season where, definitely me, the experience of knowing what the level's about now. Coming into the season thinking it was the Northern League and we were just going to blow everyone away, probably a little bit naive. We've learned from that, and we'll do something different next season on the back of that. But there's been some highs and there's been some lows. And ultimately, when you've got a lot of highs and a lot of lows, sometimes they'll cancel each other out and you'll finish mid-table, and that's where we've finished. The challenge now is to probably go away, have a little bit of time, reflect, and back to work and look to improve the group, look to improve going into next season and have another go and try and be better than we were this year.
Cheers, Ian. Thank you.
Thank you.